With political analyst Mona Charen. She's a syndicated columnist and writes for townhall.com. Good morning to you, Mona.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Mona, one of the things the Dems up in the House last week were trying to do was they were trying to attach to the bill ACORN. And ACORN was going to wind up with a great big slice of the pie.
Right.
We just heard from Eric Shawn about ACORN. It sounds like this is perhaps not the 100% most reputable organization. What would be in the Democrats' interest to give ACORN so much money?
Right. Well, you know, the Democrats are attempting to tell the country a fable in the response to the financial crisis. The fable goes like this. This crisis is the result of 8 years of unbridled, anything-goes capitalism. That was how Nancy Pelosi, among many others, has put it. In fact, if you look at the history of this, in what the reality shows is that part of this crisis, in fact, the main part of it, was a result not of capitalism, but of government interference in the market, of Democrats pushing to get people loans who could not afford them, people who were not creditworthy. And who down at the street level was agitating and pushing very hard? ACORN. ACORN had what they call direct action tactics, where they would intimidate banks, where because they had the law on their side, the Community Reinvestment Act, and its implementing regulations, they could threaten banks that the banks couldn't merge, they couldn't perform certain activities without approval from so-called community organizations, just like ACORN.
Right, exactly. So, now, Mona, let me ask you about this, though. Okay, so we know that background regarding ACORN. The Senate has since stripped it from the bill, but now it goes back to the House. What's to stop Nancy Pelosi from putting, ACORN back in the receiver's, essentially into getting more money?
There are a couple things to say about that. The first is only shame and lots of publicity, fear of not getting Republican votes again. If she does want Republican votes for this bill, they ought to be cautious about that. But also, they ought to be cautious because every time ACORN's name comes up, it brings up Mr. Barack Obama, who began his career as an ACORN agitator. He worked closely with ACORN. He was endorsed by ACORN. He trained their workers, the very people who later descended upon local bank offices as ACORN shakedown artists demanding these subprime loans. So if they don't want that background about Barack Obama to be brought up, maybe they should reconsider putting this back in the legislation.
All right. Well, that's your opinion. Mona Charen, we thank you very much. She is a writer, columnist for townhall.com.